Imagine living on a floating island high above the clouds where the only goal is to build a self-sustaining, eco-friendly homestead. No roads, no neighbors, just you, the open sky, and the challenge of thriving in a futuristic paradise. That's the world of SolarPunk, a game filled with exploration, airships, crafting, decorating, and survival, all set in a breathtaking, high-tech utopia. Join me as I embark on my journey to create a new life in the sky. Let's get started. On day one, we crack open our eyes to find ourselves stranded lying down on a floating island in the middle of nowhere. Birds are soaring overhead and I'm waking up to the sun in my eyes. I don't really even know what's going on, but I stand up to try to get my bearings about me and start exploring this island that we are on in the sky. I'm looking around and I realize I have nothing. My immediate thoughts is I'm really hungry and I need to get some food. So I start searching around and come across this raspberry bush. I pick some raspberries and also start checking out some of the other lays of the land. I need some tools or something to help build a camp or a base, so I realize I'm going to need to craft, which means I need an axe or a pickaxe at least to start. I decided to set my sights on an axe to start chopping trees and realize I need 2 sticks and 3 stone to craft that axe. So I get a little snack with my raspberries to give me a little energy, and now I can start sprinting, which is really going to help me to move around a lot faster looking for these resources. And then I start gathering up sticks and stones so that I can build up this axe. But my intrusive thoughts really started to kick in here, and for some reason I thought it'd be a good idea to just jump off the side of the island. Well. Okay, I'm sorry, I had to test it. Just to see what happens when you jump off the side of the cliff, you know? Well, at least now we know what happens when you jump off the island. You'll respawn back on land, but you know, with that aside and my intrusive thoughts gone, I finally collect up the last stick I need to craft up my axe. So I quickly craft an axe and get started on chopping down some trees. I do need 3 more stones for a pickaxe, but we'll work on that in a second. This is the first tree I'm chopping down on this beautiful island, and although I love these trees, I'm really going to need these resources. So I chop down the tree and watch as it falls over. It has a really cute animation and it even makes the cutest little sound. I get to work on chopping down my second tree and I'm realizing these trees are giving me wooden planks and also some tree saplings. These saplings are going to be really useful in the future, so I make sure to carry these in my bag for later. I finish picking up the remaining stones that I need for my pickaxe. I find a couple of them just laying on the ground, and then I'm ready to craft. So I craft a pickaxe and realize I can also craft a couple of other things. Now I'm also taking a look at my inventory and realize I have a decent amount of space to store resources and other materials, so I start to reorganize, make sure I have my tools right where I need them when I'm ready to gather resources and get back to work. My first order of business with my pickaxe is to pickaxe. I've got some iron from this brown and black stone right here. And iron I know is going to be a super important resource, so I make sure to collect up all the iron I can in the area. I also found this little sandy brown stone, which actually gives us sand. I figure sand is going to be important for making glass at some point, so I just make sure to store that away as well. Now I continue to look around the lay of the land. It was actually time for another snack. I was starting to get hungry with all this work, so I eat a couple of raspberries and I get back to exploring this island that I'm on. As I run up to the edge of this cliff, I start to realize there's something over there. You see right there, there's some kind of abandoned old ship or something. My intrusive thoughts kicked in again though, because for some reason I thought it'd be a good idea to jump straight down to the other side of the island. No, we're fine. This is fine. I feel fine. Yeah, we're not fine. I actually broke both my ankles and my kneecaps on that jump, okay? Like, we are literally not okay. I am inches and moments away from death. So I try not to do any big jumps from here on out and continue exploring. I find a couple more sticks, a couple more stones, and this is going to help us to craft more of our tools that we need in the future. I had everything I needed now to craft a garden hoe, which we'll need to hopefully plant some of these seeds that I have in my inventory. And while I'm at it, I crafted up a crafting table as well. And now it was time to figure out where I wanted to lay down some type of base. I needed something to get started on if I was to make this island my home. So I started exploring different areas of this island and I found this little trek uphill, but it was blocked by this huge stone. So I decided it was time to whip out my pickaxe and get it out of the way because I really needed to see what was at the top of this hill. I pickaxed it a couple of times, broke it down. I got 6 stone, which will be useful. And look at this beautiful flat land. And I knew that this is where I was meant to be because look, it's Henrietta. Henrietta the chicken, of course. We love Henrietta. She is beautiful. She is beauty. She is grace. So now it's time to find the perfect spot for my crafting table. Again, there's nothing out here, so I really just had to decide what would be the best place to put it. As I'm putting it down, I realized I have total freedom on how to rotate and where to place these items, which was really cool to see because that'll mean creativity can kind of run wild in this game. So I was really excited about that. But I find the perfect place over by the rock to place down the crafting table. And the first thing that comes to mind is how perfect the aesthetic is. This is one of my personal favorites and I love how the stuff looks. And it was now time to build some type of farm plot area, but not before I gathered up the iron that was kind of in the way. I made sure to get this because, again, we're going to need all of the iron that we can get. Now I ran back over to this area here, which I feel like would be a good spot for us to place some plots. So I start laying down some plots for our seeds, and I even started planting some of our raspberry bushes because the sooner we get those going, the better. I didn't stop there though. I decided to add a couple more plots because I did notice that we have 3 cotton seeds. So I added 3 more plots, planted our seeds, and I didn't really have to worry about watering them because it's raining. And although the rain is super helpful for watering our crops, it didn't satisfy my need to plant and water a berry bush, which is part of the tutorial. So I went ahead and crafted my watering can and also took a look at this survival guide, which I crafted one of those. I figured a survival guide would be really important to our survival on the floating island. I also decided to take a look around at some of the other things that existed in the crafting table or this workbench, and I saw that we can make seeds, we can make furniture, and a bunch of other stuff. So I went ahead, put down my survival guide because it was time to take a look to see what we could learn from this book. Doesn't make sense that I placed it down in the rain, but hey, it's a good a time as any to understand what I need to live. So I saw that we have lots of different helpful tips in our survival guide. Essential tips, farming, building, airship, electronics, other, and all. So there were lots of tabs to explore, and I just took a quick look or a quick read of our survival guide just to kind of help me along my way. Now with that newfound information, I figured it was a good time to find some water for my watering can. However, I jumped off the cliff and broke my ankles again. I was very close to death at this point. Somehow I've almost managed to die in the coziest survival game that actually exists on the planet right now, which is kind of crazy. Literally, trust me when I say it's super cozy. Just don't do what I'm doing and jump off of everything that you see. But I did end up getting some water for my watering can once I healed up a little bit, and then it was time to head back to camp to see if I could water up those raspberry bushes. I do need them to grow as fast as possible because, as you can see, I'm getting pretty hungry and I'll need that for food and also water at this point. So I got to the top of my hill and watered my crops, which were already watered, but hey, we watered them again anyway because what is a little extra water? You know, they need it. They're thirsty. But now that leads us on to our next tasks, which is to build and place a research table and also to build and place a bed. So the first thing I did was come to my crafting table and make a research table. I placed that down right next to the crafting table, and this is a lot of tables in one sentence, but I placed that down and then took a look at what we could learn. It seems that if I donate resources to this research table, it'll also help us to understand how to craft new things such as wells, chests, beehives, and even beds, and in the future, decorative stuff, which you'll see very, very soon. But I needed to unlock the bed. It looks like I needed a couple more sticks in order to unlock the blueprint I needed to craft a bed, so I went on the hunt for sticks. And very surprisingly, sticks are not a widely found resource just hanging around, so I spent quite a bit of time looking for sticks. Little did I know there's actually an easier way to get sticks, but for right now I did spend some time looking. But I did get to see a beautiful view of the moon kind of going down, which I thought was just really, really pretty. So I researched a bed, and then it was time for day 2. We kick off day 2 bright and sunny, harvesting up some raspberries, which I was desperately needing. At this point, I was so close to starving. My stomach is grumbling. I'm starting to get a little cranky, but I watered up my crops, and then I paid a little visit over to our bestie, Henrietta. I just wanted to check on her. Okay, the chickens. The chicken is safe. The chicken is safe. I shouldn't have done that, but I did want to see. I just had to, you know what, let's move on. So I come to my crafting table, and it's time for us to start looking at crafting sticks. Look at that. All along, I was able to craft sticks right here, or even through my inventory. Now, I did check on the bed, and it looks like we're going to need a bit more cloth, but that was pretty lucky because I had some cotton growing right here, so I grabbed some of that and got back to chopping some wood because I also needed wood planks for the bed. Chopped down a couple of trees, And then I took a little step back to take a look at that tree falling over because I'm really just obsessed with the little animation of the tree just disappearing. It's just really cute. But now it's time to craft our glorious bed. I went to go place it down and I realized the bed must be placed under a roof. Now I instantly become overwhelmed because, I'm just not the best builder. I was going to attempt to build, but I figured maybe we should explore, gather up some more resources before we do that. And I came to this little area, which looks like there's some kind of platform up top, but I don't know how to get up there. So this is my first attempt at trying to maybe build some stairs or something that could help me scale the side of this cliff, I guess we can say. Now, as I ascended the steps, I went to craft another set of stairs, hopefully leading me to the top of the cliff when this happened.
Oh no!
Yep, that's just me falling off the island again. Well, I woke up on the other side of the island and just decided to make my trek all the way back over, and I started placing steps yet again, except I could not figure out how to get myself to the top of the cliff. Again, I am not the best builder, so this was going to take me a bit of time, and I needed to make a house, most importantly, some type of foundation so that I could go to sleep at night. So I went back to my base and decided to work on that. So I pulled out my build hammer and start laying down foundation. The first thing I noticed is that you can raise and lower the foundations to however high or low you want them, which I think is a really nice feature. But I got started on placing these down, and you can even free rotate too, which is pretty cool. But I started laying down the basic foundations, and again, don't kill me for this build, okay? Things get better towards the end of the video, I'll say that. They do get a little bit better, but for now it's a little rough. I needed lots more resources, so I'm chopping down more trees, laying more foundation. I put up a couple of walls before I realized you can actually put down walls that have windows. Now, I don't have any glass yet, but that sparked my interest on what else we could craft. So I took a break and ran over to my crafting table to see we did have some new recipes, including this rain collector. Figured I should go ahead and put one of these down considering we don't have any drinking water yet. So I made one and decided on the best place to put it, which was actually right next to the crafting table and the blueprint station, just because I didn't have anywhere else right now to put it, honestly. But once we had that down, I finished off building up the walls on our house, chopped some more wood because we need lots of planks, and finished off the rest of the building. I put down a door, my last wall, and then I stood back to look at our work. Now listen, this may not be impressive to you, but it's kind of impressive to me, okay? I went ahead and finished it off with some fencing, and I figured this could be like a porch type of situation. So we needed some stairs. I went ahead and placed those in. So I went ahead and finished off some stairs and then went inside to take a look.
There you it's a smooth rectangle.
Yeah, I made a rectangle, literally. But I was just going to stick with it and go with the flow. I was thinking about placing a roof, but this is when I started thinking blueprints would be really nice for this game. Just to be able to lay the blueprints down and then add in resources would be a really nice touch so you could see what you're building, especially for someone like me. But overall, building felt pretty good. Now, I will say it was time for me to start putting on roofs, and yet again, another disclaimer, I just cannot make roofs work. I don't know what it is with my brain, but I just can't build roofs. So I finished off the night by chopping more wood, finishing off the roof that I needed, which was just a flat roof, and I decided to place down the bed so that we could go to sleep for the night. But before we did that, I wanted to unlock tier 2 of our research table, which required some cloth. I had all the cloth that I needed, so I just went ahead and crafted some of that, and then I used it at our research table so that we could learn some new recipes.
An airship dog? Oh my gosh, Art Deco and chairs. Plants, iron tools. Oh my gosh, you can see the stuff. Look at this stuff. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I am blown away by some of the cutest stuff. If you can see all of these different things that we can learn and also use but decorate as well in our game. I just love some of the aesthetics of these things, and it really gave me hope for the future. I was really excited.
I know you're seeing this clearly. The basic home decor? No way. This is her. She is the game. She's my type of game. This is my type of game. This is my type of game.
Can you tell this is my type of game? Yeah, the singing is a little much, but I'm just so excited. Anyways, I got to work on learning some new recipes, which included the furnace, the deco plant set, and also the materials I was going to need for the airship dock. Now I needed brick and iron, which I assumed the furnace was going to be the most important tool for that. So I looked at what I needed to craft a well and a furnace, because the well was going to come in handy too, and it was going to be a lot of stone. So before I got started on that, I figured we should end the night and just kick off day 3.
Good morrow. Good morning.
We're really excited today because obviously we have a lot to do. The sun is out and shining, and I realized my crops are a little dry. So the first order of business was going to be to get some water for my watering can. Now I will say this trek down the hill all the way to the little lake down here was really starting to get tiring. It is a long walk down and all the way back up, and the watering can empties pretty quickly, but I started my ascend back up and get to tilling some more of the land. I needed more plots because I had a lot more seeds to plant. So after I got done tilling, I went ahead and planted the seeds I had in my inventory, and then I made sure to water those so that they had the best chance at growing big and strong. I will say though, it was getting tiring watering these plants this way. The next order of business was to gather all the rocks I needed for the new recipes that I'd learned. And side note, your tools break a lot, so just make sure you have sticks and stones on you so you can recraft your tools. But I went ahead and mined up all the iron that we would need, some sand, and just some basic stone. I was gathering up as much as I possibly could carry because again, we were going to need a lot of it for crafting our resources. Now, coming up this hill, I remembered again about this abandoned ship, and I really need to figure out a way to get over there, but I did refrain from jumping across this time, so you should be proud. I gathered up the raspberries when I made it back to my home and ate a couple of raspberries too because I was getting kind of hungry. We did some more planting, some more watering, and this is when my intrusive thoughts kicked in. I was thinking, could I survive a jump down there? I do not want to go all the way back down, but I figured an easier thing to do would be to craft a well. So I had enough stone to craft my furnace, and now I just needed a couple more sticks in order to make a well, which would allow us to water our plants from the comfort of our own home. So I crafted up some sticks, I made a well, and placed it down immediately, okay? Immediately. I was so excited because look at the little leaves on it. We dropped our bucket down into the abyss, and it comes back up with some juicy, delicious water. I went ahead and watered our crops, and it was just so much easier this way. And now it was time to place down our furnace, which I was really excited about because I needed to see what resources we could craft with this thing. So I added some wooden planks for fuel, and then I started experimenting with the different resources I already had in my inventory, such as the sand, the clay, and the iron. Iron obviously makes iron bars, the sand will make glass, and the clay will make clay brick. But I went ahead and got started on iron. Now, while that was crafting, and after making a furnace, I thought to myself, maybe a little side patio, I don't know what you want to call this, but maybe a little work area would be better or more appropriate for our furnace. So I built one of those using some foundation and also some pillars, put on a simple roof, and added some fencing just to make it look kind of nice. And then I added some stairs to the front so that we could easily walk up and down this side porch. What are we calling this thing again? Anyways, once we got the stairs installed, I picked up my furnace and moved it right over to the wooden house structure, which it doesn't really make a lot of sense that this is here, considering it's going to be burning fire. Listen, it's fine. It's a game. Everything's going to work out, okay? Don't stress. But with our furnace crafted, I decided to make a chest because storing some resources next to the furnace would probably come in handy. I was testing out some different resources with the different ingredients, but essentially landed on adding some clay because we needed those bricks in order to learn that plant decoration set, and I really wanted to decorate with plants. So I added some bricks and got those going, stood back to look at our work, and then it was getting dark. As you can see, I thought it'd be a good idea for me to start playing with roofs, but it's just not good. I had to delete it because I just cannot build. Somebody give me tips. I ended the bed by crying myself to sleep and woke up on day 4 ready to start another day. So I run outside to check on our resources, specifically my furnace, just to collect up anything that had been crafted. We had 3 bricks ready to go. So I ran over to my research table and I was ready to research everything. I just needed a little extra cloth, and with that I'd be able to research the airship dock and the deco plant set. I was so excited. Let's go. Oh, I'm so excited. Yeah, this was going to be a whole new adventure that we were going to go on, but we needed a ton of resources for the dock, so that was another feat. 40 wood and 20 iron for the airship dock, which is not shocking. It's a big thing. Now, with all of that excitement, I ran back to my furnace and decided to replace the bricks that were being crafted with iron because, again, we need 20 iron for the airship dock, so I figured that was priority. I went ahead, put the iron in, and then I got started back on the garden because I needed to harvest up some raspberries because that's pretty much all we have for food. I collected up some cotton and I went to plant the rest of my seeds. This is kind of just a normal daily routine. Harvest, plant, and water. So I made sure everything was watered before moving on to my next task for the day, which was resource gathering. I got some more planks, some more iron, and then I decided it was finally time to figure out what was at the top of this hill. I crafted some stairs to help me get up the side of the cliff, and with a little hop, I made it right on land next to the abandoned airship. This gave me some type of component that I was going to need, I assume, so I ran straight back to base because this was a magnificent find. I was so excited because I needed to know maybe that there was something else hiding around on the island. This is when I got really motivated to create some kind of structure to help me to get to the top of this cliff that we tried to ascend the first time before we fell off the cliff. Now, I wasn't going to fall this time, but I did make some makeshift build to get me to the top, but that's all I cared about. Okay, we're not going to talk about how raggedy it was, but there was nothing really of interest other than some more resources, which I guess are important. I gathered up the raspberries, the cotton, the wood, and then I ran back to base. Only after I broke my ankles again, but you know, it's usual. It's the normal for me, okay? I'm always breaking my ankles. I went to check on my furnace and I realized I was out of fuel, so I added a couple more planks to continue the iron. We had about 14, so we're getting really close to the amount of iron that we needed. I also added some additional iron, and then I sorted out my inventory and added some stuff to my storage chest. I'm taking another stab at roof building for some odd reason, and as you can see, it's still not going well. I think I got close to something here, but immediately overwhelmed. Delete it all. Just get rid of it, okay? Now I finally had all of the iron that I needed, and I ran back to craft up the airship dock. This is so exciting. And then saw that we could also make candles, and then I remembered, oh, there's a beehive. So I made sure to craft a beehive because I wanted to make candles too. This was a big moment for multiple reasons. But before we do that, I went to place down my airship dock right on the edge of our island, and look at that. Wow, how awesome is this? I did some excitement jumps because I could not contain how happy I was to finally have this huge thing. And now all we need to do was build the airship. Luckily, we had already found the component that we needed, so I went back to place down my beehive so that I could get some maybe honey or beeswax going while I was off adventuring. I decided to place it right in front of the rest of our crops, and the sounds of the bees is so relaxing. How relaxing is that sound? Now, I didn't realize how late it was in the day, so I decided to go to sleep so that we could kick off adventuring on day 5. Here we are, awake and ready to explore. Today is going to be a monumentous day. Is monumentous a word? I think so. I don't know. But I gathered up the rest of my iron. I decided to check on my raspberries, so I gathered a couple of those for a snack while we're off adventuring. And as you can see, Henrietta's just hanging out. Look, Henrietta's the best, right? We love Henrietta. We love her. Now, I decided to also at this point plant some of those saplings that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Now, these saplings were going to help us for wood purposes. I realized the trees are not regenerating, so if I wanted more wood for building or crafting, I was going to have to replant some of these trees. And the beautiful thing about planting trees in the game is that you don't have to water them or tend to them at all. They kind of just grow on their own. I really like that feature because trees do kind of just grow on their own, so it felt pretty realistic to me. Now, my trees are going, my iron is smelting. I decided to craft some decorative stuff so that I could just pass time while we were waiting on the iron for our airship. So I crafted up this little side table and I threw it in the corner of our room. My idea was to hopefully put a candle and maybe even that book that we have in our inventory on the table. And now it was time for the decorative plants. I think I had just enough bricks to make one of the plants. As I was looking through my options, it kind of dawned on me that I needed another furnace because I wasn't going to be able to smelt any more bricks if the furnace was always working on iron. So I grabbed out the bricks that I had and then I ran over to the crafting table to make another furnace. This was going to be a furnace I would have going when, I needed more than one resource crafting at once. So I added in some bricks and then I crafted up my first plant, which was the medium plant 7. Isn't she beautiful? Number 7 is absolutely gorgeous. I decided on placing her right next to the table in the bed, and I love them. Honestly, I wish I could grow plants like this in real life, but I just cannot. So we'll live vicariously through the game. Now my iron was finally ready. We had 26 total iron. I crafted up some cloth that I knew that we were going to need, and it was time to officially build our first airship. Let's go. cool is that? Our very first airship. Oh my gosh. We literally have an airship now. Oh my god. What do I do? I was so excited about the airship. We need to get exploring immediately. So I went ahead and emptied out my inventory because who knew what we were going to find on our journey. I went ahead, cleared that out, and ran up to our airship. Look at the little doors that drop, just like welcoming us on board. I did check out the different components of our airship. Everything seems to be doing okay, and got right on because I was ready to start flying. Now there is a manual that tells you how to kind of move forward, brake, all of the different functions of the airship. I also realized that wind direction and turbulence is a part of traveling through the air, which is so nerve-wracking, but we're going to try our best, okay? We also have battery indicators and charging indicators, meaning that your airship could essentially die and then you would have to kind of maybe fix it or something in the future. But we are off. Look at us. Now I took my eyes off the wheel for too long because I almost flew straight down out of the air, so I had to recorrect, but look how beautiful. We are officially flying through the sky, and this is so cool. In the future, there's actually going to be third person, which I think will be so awesome because being able to see in third person, I think might be a little bit easier to like fly and drive. Now, if you notice those blue lines, that's because that area is blocked off for the demo, unfortunately. So I flew in the only direction we could, which was towards this tiny little island in the sky. I didn't know if we could explore here just yet, but I figured I'd head in that direction. Now we started coming up on this island real fast. I almost started panicking. Slow down. Please slow down. Okay. Okay. Docking. Oh my god, we survived the flight. We did survive the flight, and we came on this beautiful little homestead. It looks like we had a note for us which says we received an energy demo pack, which included 1 sprinkler, 1 drill, 1 network display, 16 cable connectors, a solar panel, and windmill, which that's awesome. I was so happy to have all of that stuff. I wanted to go inside to explore, but we couldn't really. There was lots of different plants and stuff inside, and as you can see, it's just beautifully decorated out here. I did try exploring around a bit, but everything else was kind of locked behind the demo. However, there was this little crafting table which showed us some different things that may come in the future, such as a forestry area, a magnetic fisher, some robots that might happen to help us, light packs, windmills, and all kinds of other resources. So I'm assuming through exploring with your airship, you'll find new blueprints or things that will help you along your journey on making, a totally self-sufficient homestead. That was so exciting to see. I really just cannot wait for the full game, but I looked around a little bit more and made sure I didn't miss anything that I could collect. And after that, it was time to head back home. Taking a look at the inventory, I could see all of the new gifts we got, and I hopped back on my airship to continue exploring around. Now, as I was flying off into the distance, look at this sunset, the pinks and the blues kind of merging together. It's really, really beautiful out here, but it was starting to get dark. The sun is going down, and I'll have to admit, I was not feeling super comfortable about exploring in the dark, so I figured it was probably time for us to turn the ship around and head back home. It's just, the darkness is not going to be good for me. I'm already a terrible flyer. So we turned the ship around and I headed back in the direction of our house. You can see kind of like how the night looks. It looks a little eerie, I'm not going to lie. But I bit the corner around our floating island and I found myself ready to park our ship right back at our home base. Now parking is interesting because you do have to kind of line it up not perfectly, but you have to get close enough and you have to be going slow enough in order to park. I kind of came in at an angle here, but hey, we made it work, okay? And we're not going to talk about it. I'm glad I made it home and I went straight to bed because that was a long, adventurous day. We wake up on day 6 feeling really confident in our abilities. I run outside, of course, to check our beeswax, and it looks like our bees had made just enough for us to craft our first candle. I don't know why this was my priority this morning, but I was really excited about making a candle, clearly. I just really wanted to decorate. So I set down my candle, and then I also decided I could set down my adventuring book, my survival guide, and it wasn't fitting on the table with the candle. So I had to remove the candle and place the book first, and then I could kind of set it up how I want. But look at how pretty the lighting is. Turn the candle on, the ambiance, it's wonderful. I gathered up some raspberries for the day because I needed to make sure I had all of the food and nutrients, and then I got started on placing some of these new resources that we found on that little floating island. Now this right here is a sprinkler system, I guess. I I didn't figure out how to make this work. I do figure this out later. I'll show that in a clip later at the end of the video. Next, I decided to place down our network display. This would tell us about all of the different machines or like solar panels and stuff that we had working on our homestead. And I wanted to put the solar panels on the roof. So I made some stairs that led up onto the roof where I could place down my solar panels, and these would start generating energy for us. So I connected some cables, which then you connect to your network display. And as you'll see, once you connect them, it will show you how things are functioning and how much energy you're generating, which is a really, really cool aspect of the game. Now, the next thing we were gifted was this windmill. And at first, when I placed it down, it seemed to be placed the wrong direction. I thought I had just placed it down in the wrong direction, but as I was rotating it to place it forward facing, it actually just faces whatever direction the wind is blowing. So it doesn't really matter how you place it down, it's going to face the direction of the wind, which makes sense because it's a windmill. Let's chat about that later. Now it was time to put up some more details of our little crazy looking structure. I added some fencing because for whatever reason I thought that would help. I added some fence to the roof as well to make like a railing situation. This was like the best I could do when I don't have the ability to build a roof right now. So I spent the rest of my time chopping down some trees because we would need the wooden planks to finish off the build I was making. And then I got sidetracked because I realized that we had this drill, and then I thought there was this weird patch of rocks down here that I remembered seeing earlier, and I figured the drill would go on that, which it does. The only problem was I couldn't figure out how to power it on, so I kind of abandoned that thought as quickly as it came and got back to building. I added some railing to my stairs, finished off the fencing to go on top of the house, and it was a decent looking situation. I do build something much better looking later on, and at the end of the video I do show you a little video of that new build that I made, but for now this is kind of what we were working with. She's not terrible, but she's not great. I collected up my raspberries so that we had a snack for later, and then ran inside to check the survival guide for information on how to power the drill. I didn't find anything, so I decided to go ahead and go to sleep for the night and kick off day 7. However, it turns out to be a pretty gloomy day on day 7 because it's raining. Now, rain is not necessarily a bad thing because it does collect water for us to drink, fresh water for us to drink as well. So I checked on our water collector to make sure we were getting water, and then I planted some crops seeing that the rain would water everything for us. Now this is where my big brain is not big braining because I thought it would be a great idea to go for a flight. Why would I do that? This was a terrible idea. This was the worst idea I've ever made. This is where I started to panic just a little bit. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 back home. Yeah, back home. We're going back home. Absolutely not. This was a terrible idea. Get to the dock immediately. Oh, we're gonna have to turn around. Now things start to get even worse when I realize I am nowhere near docking the plane. Hello? I'm scared. I'm terrified. We're going backwards! Sorry. Okay. Forwards. We just need to go forward. Now things start to get even worse when I realize I am nowhere near docking the plane. Too fast to dock. Okay. Oh! I'm in big trouble. I want to abandon. No, you're lying. The tears in my eyes. Hello? Okay. Alright, just ease. Yeah, we're just gonna ease into it. We're just easing in, and finally, I was able to dock the airship. Just never again. Never again. Don't fly in the rain, okay? If you're playing the demo or if you play the game in the future, don't fly in the rain. Decided to start working on something that was a little bit safer, which to try to tackle this drill again. Now, I placed down the drill and then I placed down the windmill because I figured maybe the drill isn't working because it doesn't have power, which is kind of like duh. And then I placed a cable to the top of the drill and then another one to the bottom. But anyways, the moral to the story is I figured it out. You just need to connect power to the drill. I removed the extra cable, and then you can see the drill is working to collect resources such as iron and clay and other things. So that's going to be really helpful for the future. I was really excited to see that the drill can be powered by the windmill, and I just love the eco-friendly kind of characteristics of this game. It was super, super fun. But now I'm going to insert a clip of the house that I ended up building with a little more time on my hands. This was something that I could create. You can see I got the sprinkler working, and this is just, I don't know, this is super relaxing. I love how this turned out. We have our beehive and the water collector out front. I do have a similar aspect of the house considering I don't have a roof, but I tried to make it a little more functional. We come inside and see we have a similar bed set up, but the room is a little bit smaller. I decided to add a patio door out the back, which leads out to a patio that overlooks like the sky and also the farm on the other side. I really like having this little patio area here. We even have a little candle on our table outside, so relaxing. Just imagine this area with more decorations. How fun would that be? I also built like a little on-ramp that would lead up to a build station kind of area, kind of like an area for my crafting. I put my blueprint table, I put the crafting table, and also our furnaces up here. And you can see how cozy it is with even the furnaces going. They add like a beautiful yellow red glow, and you can hear the fire crackling. And this would just be where I come to kind of work on my stuff. I really like how this area turned out. I even planted some trees for some pops of greenery. And then we have stairs that lead to the top of the roof. I decided to move my network station up here next to the solar panels just so that the cords aren't like flying all over the area. But I love how it turned out, and I feel like it was more fitting of something that I could actually build with a little bit more time to think about what I wanted to build. It's similar to the other house, but I do like this one a little bit better. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below about this build. And of course, please share some tips about roofing too. That brings us to the end of our SolarPunk demo. SolarPunk is a game I would highly recommend to everyone, especially just to give the demo a try. I cannot wait to try the full game when it's released, but if you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I have some videos linked on the screen for you to watch right now if you're interested in more content. And until next time, I will catch you all in the next one. Peace!